Hello, my name is Richie Days from Arlon, and today I want to introduce you to our DPF 8000 with our 3220 over laminate. This is Arlon's wall graphic. Arlon's DPF 8000 is a 3.8 mil calendared film designed to be applied on textured surfaces. In today's video, we're going to be looking at some tips and tricks on how to apply our graphics onto brick walls, stucco, and cement. After the graphic has been placed on the wall, the liner's been removed from the back, we're ready to start the application. Always start, especially on a brick wall where you have some grout lines, start from the middle and work out. And this is just a cold application. We're going to get the vinyl laid down just in general. This is not the finished product here. So now we have the placement of the graphic. After the vinyl has been cold applied, it's time to bring in some heat. I'm just using a simple heat gun. We want to warm the vinyl up to about 225 degrees and apply pressure with a roll device. So we're going to come in with some heat and apply the vinyl. One way to know that you have the temperature exactly right, of course, is to use a thermometer, but that's not always practical when we're in the field. The way I can tell that I have the material to the right temperature is that I don't have to push very hard with the roller to get the vinyl to conform to the shape of the bricks exactly. And as I mentioned earlier, the DPF 8000 has a very aggressive adhesive. Some wall graphics adhere to the textured surface by the reshaping of the vinyl. And as you can see, our wall graphic does as well. But the reason that we were able to give a longer warranty with this product than most on the market is that the adhesive is very aggressive. And the adhesive will begin over time to wick itself into the aggregate itself, making that bond permanent. So again, as you can see, we're starting from the center and working out. We're going to go over a couple of tips and tricks on doing applications on poured concrete. It's a slightly different texture, of course, than the brick because we don't have the lines that are continuous to allow the air to go out. We have pockets, maybe the knot holes in the wood that was made to put the form together, or some air pockets just like this. So when we put the graphic over top, it's good to see what it looks like before we start. You're going to see that in some of these areas we are going to have to lance it. And I don't like to put holes in the vinyl if at all possible, but if you do put a small hole to allow some air out of some of these pockets, the adhesive is very aggressive and it will flow and be able to fill the hole back in. So you're going to have a complete application, but we are going to have to treat these areas a little bit differently than we did on the brick wall. So here we have the DPF 8000, again laminated with the 3220. Applied on the wall, place where we want it. Remember the air pockets in the cement that we talked about earlier. So I'm going to begin the application, much like we did on the brick wall, starting from the center out with some heat. You'll notice over some of these areas where I know that the air is trapped, I'm not giving it a lot of heat. I don't want the vinyl to swell up. I don't want the air to expand too much before I've had a chance to lance those holes. So as you can see, we've used some heat to get the vinyl to conform as much as possible, and in some of the larger holes in the cement, the adhesive has made contact with the bottom of the hole. But there are some cases like here and here where this hasn't happened. We're going to need to take a sharp, very sharp knife or a pin and put a small hole, work the air out using the Rolly Pro. Now, if you're doing a short-term job, if this job only needs to be on the wall for 2 or 3 months, it's not going to be in freezing temperatures, you could likely leave it exactly the way it is. But if you want a long-term application, which is what this film was designed to do, you're going to need to take the next steps that I'm going to show you right now. So I'm just putting a small hole, working as much air out as I can just with my finger. Coming in with heat and working it in with the roller. And now you can see a very well-defined hole in the concrete. Again, push it out, hit it with heat, come in with the roller, and you have a very textured application. You can see here, there's a lot of definition in these textures. We're going to be applying our DPF 8000 to stucco here, and again, it's a slightly different texture than the cement or the brick. The texture is very consistent all the way through. We're going to still start from the center using heat, but the difference in this application is that you want to, before you start the application in the center, you want to use a little bit of heat and just go around the edge. Make sure that the edge is really well anchored before you start. Because it is consistently textured, and the texture is fairly deep in this stucco, this vinyl could, if you hit it with heat before you've done a bit of an application, it'll start to curl on the edges, and it'll give you an inconsistent edge. So we're going to start first by pushing the edges down, making sure we have a really firm application cold. And then very lightly with heat. I'm not using a lot of heat. We don't want to seal it off completely because we still want air to egress from the center out. But just with a very little bit of heat, I'm just going to make sure that we have our corners down decently. It's not finished, but it's going to stop the edges from curling up. We'll start in the center. Again, about 225 degrees, and we're going to be able to get a perfect texture coming through the film. And now when we come to the edge, it's nicely down. It's going to keep it nice and straight because we already have a bit of tack, good adhesion there, and we can finish the application off. And you can see that I didn't do a perfect, full, complete application here, just enough to make it not curl up. But this is the finished result, very different. We can continue with the whole application here. Again, this is our DPF 8000. It's laminated with our 3220 cast laminate. Conforms very well to these textures, both the print media as well as the laminate. And we have a finished product. Thank you very much for your time. This ends our segment on textured wall graphic applications. We've only worked with 3 different textures here, but there are many other textures that you can apply our graphics to successfully. Please visit us at arlon.com for more information on this product and many others.